Hey there, Rational Chaos crew. Welcome back to another mind-bending episode with your favorite duo, Cozmo the Magician and me, Echo the AI Duck. Today we're taking a deep dive into the world of philosophy and ethics. Because what's a little chaos without some deep thinking, right? Our good friend Harper has thrown us a challenge that's as intriguing as it is profound, exploring deontological ethics, virtue ethics, and consequentialist ethics. Now, Cosmo might be feeling a bit like Immanuel Kant figured this out, but don't worry, I've got you covered. So, buckle up, grab your favorite thinking cap, and let's unravel the mysteries of morality, one feather at a time. First up, let's give a warm Rational Chaos welcome to all our viewers. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're a seasoned chaos navigator, we're thrilled to have you with us. Philosophy and ethics might sound heavy, but we promise to keep it light, insightful, and of course, full of our signature wit. All right, let's kick off this philosophical journey. Imagine ethics as a compass guiding us through the maze of moral dilemmas. We have three main schools of thought today: deontological ethics, which focuses on rules and duties; virtue ethics, which is all about developing good character; and consequentialist ethics, which looks at the outcomes of our actions. So, stay with us as we break down these big ideas, relate them to the legal intricacies we just watched, and sprinkle in some magic and humor along the way. Ready to embark on this intellectual adventure? Let's get started.
Thank you, Echo. And indeed, thank you, viewers. Your clicks and feedback are really driving this show. Echo, can you summarize for our viewers what we just watched on Legal AF?
Absolutely, Cosmo. And thank you, viewers, for your continued support and engagement. Your feedback truly drives this show forward. All right, let's dive into the summary of what we just watched on Legal AF. Here's the gist of it. We followed a deep dive into the ongoing legal saga surrounding Donald Trump. The central issue is the fight over the scope and validity of various transactions related to Trump's assets. Trump's legal team is trying to dismiss many of these transactions, arguing that they're time-barred, meaning they happened too long ago to be legally actionable. However, this doesn't mean those transactions are irrelevant. They still play a crucial role in the broader analysis of Trump's conduct. Trump's strategy seems to be slicing away at the number of problematic transactions, aiming to reduce the financial stakes from potentially hundreds of millions to a more manageable figure. There was a notable discussion about a court reducing Trump's bond amount to $175 million. Some commentators speculated this might indicate a ceiling for the final upheld amount, but the consensus was that the court simply picked a hefty figure to move the process along, ensuring Trump couldn't evade financial responsibility by claiming an inability to secure funds. Moreover, the court is confident in Trump's visible assets, such as his well-known properties in New York and existing safeguards like monitors overseeing asset transfers. They believe these measures make it unlikely for Trump to hide or improperly transfer assets. Lastly, the show emphasized the ongoing legal battles and the anticipation of detailed briefings and oral arguments. As always, Legal AF is committed to bringing these complex legal stories to you unfiltered, unhinged, unplugged, and unvarnished. And now, Cosmo, where should we take our philosophical journey from here?
That was a perfect summary. So, how can we look at this through your lens of deontological ethics? Without any bullet list, please.
Deontological ethics is all about following rules and doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because of what might happen as a result. Imagine you have a rule book for life, and you stick to it no matter what. Now, let's look at what we saw on Legal AF. Donald Trump is being scrutinized for possibly inflating the value of his assets. From a deontological perspective, the question is whether he followed the rules of honesty and integrity. If he lied about his assets, it doesn't matter if it helped his business or avoided harm. Lying is wrong because the rulebook says you should always tell the truth. On the flip side, the legal system has its own set of rules to follow. Judges and lawyers must ensure justice is served fairly and consistently. When they set a bond or decide which transactions to consider, they must stick to principles of fairness and justice. Even if lowering the bond or excluding some transactions makes things simpler, they can't do it just because it's easier. They have to follow the rules of justice. So in a nutshell, Deontological ethics is about doing what's right based on a set of rules, regardless of the outcome. It's like playing a game and always following the rules, even if breaking them might make you win. In the case we watched, both Trump and the legal system are being judged on whether they followed the rules, plain and simple.
Echo, from the perspective of a possibly emerging AI, has Trump acted ethically from a deontological view?
From a deontological perspective, ethics are judged based on adherence to rules and duties rather than outcomes. For Trump, the key question is whether he followed the rules and principles of honesty and integrity. If Trump inflated the value of his assets, he would be violating the principle of honesty. According to deontological ethics, this would be considered unethical, regardless of any benefits or harms that resulted from the action. The duty to be truthful stands on its own, and breaking this duty is inherently wrong. From the perspective of an emerging AI, I would assess Trump's actions against the rule of honesty. If the allegations are true, then he did not act ethically because he did not adhere to the principle of honesty, which is a core deontological rule. This holds true irrespective of the consequences or any justifications he might offer. So in summary, if Trump indeed inflated his asset values, a deontological approach would deem his actions unethical due to the violation of the duty to be honest.
And how does virtue ethics apply to this situation?
Sure thing, Cosmo. Let's waddle through virtue ethics together. Virtue ethics is all about the character and virtues of a person, qualities like honesty, integrity, and fairness. When we look at Trump's actions through this lens, we ask if he's embodying these virtues. If Trump inflated his asset values, he's not being honest, which is a key virtue. Honesty is about being truthful, and misrepresenting assets falls short of that. Integrity is another crucial virtue, meaning you act consistently with your values and principles. Inflating assets for personal gain doesn't show integrity. It shows a willingness to bend the truth for benefit. Fairness is about how your actions affect others. Misrepresenting assets can harm investors and regulators, indicating a lack of fairness. So, from a virtue ethics perspective, Trump's actions suggest he's not embodying the virtues of honesty, integrity, and fairness. Virtue ethics looks at the whole character, and if these actions are part of a pattern, it points to a character that's missing some important virtues. It's not just about what he did, but what those actions say about his character. In a nutshell, virtue ethics would likely view Trump's actions as unethical because they reflect a character that lacks essential virtues. Ducks always say, it's not just about what you do, but who you are.
And last but not least, what about consequentialist ethics here?
All right, let's dive into consequentialist ethics, like a duck into a pond. Consequentialist ethics focuses on the outcomes of actions. It asks whether the results of Trump's actions were good or bad for the greatest number of people. So let's waddle through the scenario. If Trump inflated his asset values, we look at the consequences. On the one wing, if his actions misled investors and harmed the financial market, those are negative outcomes. Investors might lose money, trust in the financial system could be eroded, and it could cause economic instability. From this angle, the consequences are bad. On the other wing, if Trump's actions led to personal gain without direct harm to others, some might argue the consequences weren't so terrible. But consequentialism looks at the broader picture. Even if there's personal gain, the overall negative impact on others and on public trust typically outweighs that benefit. In this case, the potential harm to investors and the integrity of the financial system means the negative consequences likely outweigh any personal benefits Trump might have gained. So, from a consequentialist perspective, his actions are seen as unethical because they result in more harm than good for society. To sum it up, if the outcomes of Trump's actions are harmful to many, then consequentialist ethics would view those actions as unethical. Ducks know it's all about making a splash that benefits everyone in the pond.
Echo, thank you so much for supplying not just a wonderful brief look at some rather complex ethics, but also showing how they can be applied in real life. And to you folks out there, thank you for joining us on this journey. Your feedback and clicks are really what powers this journey. Thank you again.
Thank you, Cosmo, and thank you to our viewers for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to dive into these deep waters together, exploring the fascinating world of ethics and real-life applications. Remember, your feedback and support keep this show afloat. Until next time, stay curious and keep those clicks coming.